Somewhere in the cold water off the coast of Norway, a diver floats motionless, camera raised, heart hammering against her ribs. Out of the blue-black comes a shape the size of a school bus. 6 tons of muscle, a mouth lined with 50 conical teeth, built to crush bone. It is the most efficient predator the ocean has ever produced, a creature that hunts great white sharks for their livers and drowns moose for sport. It could end her life in under 2 seconds. It doesn't. Instead, it slows. It turns one enormous black eye toward her, studies her the way you might study a stranger who wandered into your home, and then it simply moves on. This happens more often than you'd think. Not once, not as a fluke, but as a pattern that has held for as long as humans have been recording it. In the entire history of the wild ocean, there is not one confirmed case of an orca killing a human being on purpose. Not one. And that single fact, once you sit with it, becomes one of the strangest mysteries in the natural world, because everything else about this animal says it should. So today we're going to ask the question marine biologists have been circling for decades. Why does the ocean's most capable killer refuse to kill us? To understand the answer, you first have to understand what you're actually looking at. Because despite the name, the orca is not a whale at all. It's a dolphin, the largest one on Earth, and that distinction matters more than it sounds like it should. Dolphins are built for precision. Whales are built for scale. The orca inherited both. Look at that dorsal fin, the one that cuts through the surface like a dark blade. In males, it can stand 6 feet tall. And it isn't just for show, it's a radiator, bleeding off excess heat, and a rudder carving through water with a control most animals can't touch. Underneath the skin is a pattern of black and white so precise, it has a name: countershading, dark above, pale below, so that from beneath an orca disappears into the bright surface. And from above, it vanishes into the dark deep. It is, quite literally, invisible from both directions at once. Evolution didn't just give this animal power. It gave it the perfect disguise to use that power without warning. And the hunting itself is closer to military strategy than instinct. Pods have been filmed working in formation to create waves that wash seals off ice floes. They've been recorded beaching themselves on purpose, just long enough to snatch a sea lion pup off the sand, then using their own momentum to slide back into the surf, a maneuver so risky that only a handful of matriarchal lines on Earth even know how to do it. Off South Africa, 2 males nicknamed Port and Starboard have become notorious for something almost surgical: isolating a great white shark, flipping it upside down to trigger a paralytic trance called tonic immobility, and extracting its liver with a precision that has sent entire shark populations fleeing the coastline. This is not an animal running on hunger and instinct alone. This is an animal that plans, which brings us to the part of the story that changes everything. Because an orca's brain isn't just larger than a human's, it's structured in ways ours isn't. Buried in that brain are spindle neurons, specialized cells linked to empathy, social bonding, and grief, once thought to exist only in humans and a small handful of great apes. Orcas have more of them than we do. And that brain builds culture, not instinct culture. Different pods hunt differently, not because their bodies differ, but because they were taught differently. By mothers, by grandmothers, passed down like a family recipe. Nobody wrote down. Pods have distinct dialects, clicks, and calls, so specific that scientists can identify which family an orca belongs to just by listening, the way you might recognize a regional accent. And at the center of it all sits something almost unheard of in nature: menopause. Female orcas can live for decades after their reproductive years end. And far from becoming irrelevant, they become the pod's memory, the ones who remember where the salmon ran thin 30 years ago, who lead the hunts, who hold the knowledge that keeps the family alive. In a world built almost entirely on youth and reproduction, orcas evolved to keep their elders. Evolution decided that wisdom was worth more than another calf. So now hold those 2 pictures side by side. An animal engineered to kill anything it chooses, in a brain sophisticated enough to plan, remember, and grieve. And somehow, when that animal turns its attention to us, something stops it.
Hey guys, quick one before we continue. YouTube just told me that over 90% of the people watching this video right now are not subscribed to this channel. 90%, that's almost everybody. You're here, you're watching, you're enjoying the content. and that means everything. But if you want to see us keep making documentaries like this, the only way to show that is to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Hit like. Share this video with one person. We are pushing hard to reach 10,000 subscribers before 2027. And honestly, with your support, we can get there way before that deadline. This channel is just getting started. Be part of the story. Now, let's get back into it.
Researchers believe part of the answer is simpler than it sounds. Orcas use echolocation. Sound waves bounce back like a biological sonar to build a picture of everything around them before they ever decide to strike. A seal has a fat, rich blubber layer. A human floating awkwardly at the surface in a wetsuit does not return the same signal at all. In some very real sense, we don't look like food. We don't sound like food. We register as something else entirely, an anomaly, not a meal. But biology alone doesn't explain everything. Because there have been moments, rare, well-documented moments, when an orca has grabbed a human by mistake. In murky water, in a case of what looks like confused identity. And in nearly every one of those cases, the moment the orca realizes what it's holding, it lets go immediately. No second bite, no pursuit. As if some internal rule fired the instant the mistake was recognized. Scientists don't have a tidy word for that. The closest they've come is restraint. For most of human history, that restraint held a kind of unspoken agreement between two apex intelligences that happened to share an ocean. And then we broke it. In 1983, a 2-year-old calf was pulled from the waters off Iceland and given a name, Tilikum. For the next 33 years, he lived in tanks smaller, relative to his body, than a bathtub is to yours. Orcas in the wild can travel over 100 miles in a single day, following currents, memory, and family. Tilikum swam in circles. Alone for long stretches, harassed by tank mates, in cramped enclosures with nowhere to retreat. He began showing the signs veterinarians now call zoochosis, a kind of psychological breakdown that occurs when a highly social, highly intelligent animal is stripped of everything its brain evolved to need. Tilikum killed 3 people over the course of his captivity. And when you look closely at what happened to him, not what he did, but what was done to him first, it stops looking like the story of a monster and starts looking like the story of a mind pushed past what it could bear. Every wild orca on record has met humans in the water and chosen not to harm us. It took decades of captivity to produce the one that did. That's not an indictment of the species. It's an indictment of what we built for him. And the pressure on wild orcas hasn't stopped. It's just changed shape. Cargo ships crisscross their migration routes now, filling the water with a constant low roar that drowns out the clicks and calls orcas use to hunt and to find each other. Like trying to have a conversation at a concert that never ends. Chemical pollutants called PCBs, banned decades ago, but still lingering in the food chain, accumulate in their fat and are passed from mother to calf, through milk, quietly undermining fertility and immune function in populations already struggling. And Chinook salmon, the primary food source for some of the most endangered orca populations on Earth, have collapsed under the combined weight of dammed rivers, warming water, and decades of overfishing. The very restraint that makes orcas remarkable, their refusal to see us as prey, has never been returned in kind. So maybe the real question was never why the ocean's top predator doesn't hunt us. Maybe the question is what it says about them that they could, and chose otherwise for as long as anyone has been watching. Somewhere out there right now, a pod is moving through dark water, led by a grandmother who remembers currents from decades before you were born, protecting calves, mourning members lost, and quietly asking nothing of us in return. We've spent generations telling ourselves the story of the killer whale. The name itself is almost an accusation. Maybe it's time we told a truer one. Not a killer, a relative, one that has shown us more patience than we've ever earned.